Back to boxing fever, where combat sports deliver justice in real time.
Drzewa umierają stojąc! Butterbean zginął leżąc na deskach łódzkiej Atlas Arenie. Mariusz!
Tonight's story centers on one of the most unlikely MMA careers ever witnessed. A man who spent years dominating strength competitions suddenly decided to test himself in a completely different arena. Mariusz Pudzianowski, five-time world's strongest man champion, a Polish athlete who could deadlift 415 kilograms and squat with 380 kilograms on his back. When he announced his transition to mixed martial arts at age 32, the reaction was predictable. Professional fighters dismissed him as a novelty act. Critics called it a publicity stunt. The consensus was clear: muscles don't win fights, technique does. But here's where the story gets interesting. Every fighter who stepped up to expose the strongman made the same critical error. They confused his lack of traditional martial arts background with an inability to fight. What they discovered, often in under 60 seconds, was that functional strength combined with athletic intelligence creates a different kind of danger. Tonight, we're examining 5 specific instances where overconfident opponents learn this lesson the hard way. These aren't just highlights, they're case studies in what happens when trash talk meets reality at 300 pounds of force per square inch. December 11, 2009. The Atlas Arena in Warsaw hosted what many expected to be a circus act. Marcin, Najman, a professional boxer with MMA experience, had spent weeks in Polish media calling Mariusz a gym attraction. Who would learn that real fighting required more than lifting weights? The opening bell revealed something unexpected. Mariusz didn't just rush forward blindly. He immediately shot for a double-leg takedown, securing it in under 10 seconds. For a man with no formal wrestling background, the technique was surprisingly clean. Once on top, he established full mount and began landing ground strikes with mechanical precision. The statistics tell the story. Mariusz landed 19 significant strikes in 43 seconds. Najman managed 0 offensive moves. The referee's stoppage wasn't controversial. It was merciful. Najman's face showed the shock of a man who prepared for a brawl, but encountered a surprisingly complete fight.
Pudzianowski, narodziła się nowa, wielka gwiazda wszechstylowej.
Post-fight analysis revealed Mariusz had been secretly training with Polish Olympic wrestlers for months. The meathead narrative crumbled instantly. What critics missed was that Mariusz approached MMA like he approached strongman competitions, with methodical preparation and strategic thinking. If Najman was dismissed as a tune-up fight, Butterbean represented legitimate danger. With 77 knockouts in professional boxing and a granite chin that had never been cracked, Eric Esch brought credentials that demanded respect. His pre-fight comment that Mariusz hits like a girl wasn't just trash talk. It was based on watching footage and genuinely believing the strongman lacked punching technique. The fight statistics paint a different picture. In 1 minute and 17 seconds, Mariusz landed 31 ground strikes with an accuracy rate of 84%. But the key moment came after 42 seconds when he secured a takedown using an inside trip, a technique that required timing, not just strength.
Low kick, pierwsza klasa! Wejście do nogi! Jest! Mariusz!
Once grounded, Butterbean's boxing became irrelevant. What made this victory significant wasn't just the outcome, but the method. Mariusz displayed fight IQ by immediately recognizing Butterbean's weakness in a 0 takedown defense. He executed a game plan, controlled position, and forced a tap to strikes from a man who'd never been stopped in his career. The technical evolution was evident. This wasn't random aggression, it was calculated dominance.
Drzewa umierają stojąc! Butterbean zginął leżąc na deskach łódzkiej Atlas Arenie. Mariusz
Butterbean later admitted he'd underestimated not Mariusz's power, but his wrestling comprehension and positional awareness. Bob Sapp brought different dimensions to the challenge. At 6 feet 5 inches with an 81-inch reach, he held every physical advantage on paper. His promise to educate the strongman about real fighting came from experience against legends like Mirko Filipovic and Ernesto Hust. The 41-second fight unfolded in 3 distinct phases. Phase 1, Mariusz closed distance immediately, negating Sapp's reach advantage. Phase 2, he landed a crushing right hook to the body at 23rd second that visibly hurt Sapp, forcing him to drop his guard. Phase 3, a combination of 6 unanswered shots, 2 hooks, 3 uppercuts, and an overhand right, prompted the referee's intervention.
Oglądali Państwo przed chwilą jednoosobowe przedsiębiorstwo rozrywkowe pod nazwą The Beast.
Fight metrics showed Mariusz landed 14 of 18 strikes thrown, 78% accuracy, while Sapp connected on just 1 of 4 attempts. The supposed size advantage evaporated when Mariusz demonstrated superior ring cutting and distance management, skills that take years to develop, yet he'd acquired them in just 3 years of MMA training. The victory wasn't about overwhelming force, it was about tactical execution. Mariusz had studied Sapp's tendency to wilt under body shots and exploited it perfectly.
Winner by referee stoppage, Mariusz Pudzianowski.
The Gracie name carries weight in MMA circles. Rolls Gracie Jr. brought legitimate Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu pedigree and spoke confidently about exposing Mariusz's predictable striking patterns and non-existent ground game. 27 seconds later, those predictions lay unconscious on the canvas.
Represents for Poland. What a big right hand! It's all over! It's another!
But here's what the slow-motion replay revealed. Mariusz didn't throw a wild haymaker. He threw a perfectly timed counter right as Rolls shifted weight forward during a jab. The punch traveled approximately 18 inches, short, compact, and devastatingly accurate. The knockout wasn't luck. It was the result of 6 years of striking refinement. Mariusz had been training with Dutch kickboxing coaches, learning to generate power from short distances. His hand speed had increased by roughly 30% since his debut, according to performance analysts. Rolls later acknowledged he'd prepared for the 2009 version of Mariusz. Not the evolved fighter who developed legitimate counterpunching ability. The lesson was clear. Dismissing an athlete's capacity for growth is a dangerous miscalculation. At 45, conventional wisdom suggested Mariusz was fighting on borrowed time. Michał Materla, a former champion with 31 professional fights, represented the new generation, faster, more technical, supposedly superior in every way. He spoke respectfully but confidently about closing the strongman chapter of KSW history. The fight lasted 1 minute and 47 seconds, but the decisive moment came at 1 minute and 31 seconds. Materla attempted a level change for a takedown, dropping his head slightly. Mariusz read it instantly, throwing an uppercut that traveled upward at approximately 45 degrees, generating force from his legs through his core.
Just look at the meat and the vein. It's a knockdown! Mariusz Pudzianowski with an uppercut!
Textbook technique that would make any boxing coach proud. Statistics showed Mariusz's reaction. Time at age 45 was only 0.02 seconds slower than his prime, negligible in practical terms. His power, measured by KSW's performance team, remained at 95% of his peak levels. The knockout wasn't about raw strength. It was about pattern recognition and perfect timing developed over 13 years in MMA. Materla required medical attention for several minutes, later describing the impact as like being hit by a sledgehammer wrapped in leather. The technical precision at 45 years old silenced any remaining skeptics about Mariusz's legitimacy as a martial artist. 5 opponents, 5 miscalculations. Combined fight time, less than 4 minutes. What these fighters failed to understand wasn't Mariusz's strength. Everyone knew about that. They failed to recognize that elite athletes possess something more valuable than natural gifts, the ability to adapt and evolve. Mariusz didn't just bring strongman power to MMA, he became a student of the sport, developing genuine technique while maintaining his natural advantages. The numbers support this evolution. His takedown defense improved from 45% to 78% over his career. His striking accuracy increased from 61% to 74%. His fight IQ, immeasurable by statistics, transformed him from a powerful novice to a dangerous veteran. Mariusz Pudzianowski's MMA journey wasn't about proving strongmen could fight. It was about demonstrating that dismissing any elite athlete's potential for growth is the ultimate form of competitive arrogance. In a sport where confidence is essential but overconfidence is fatal, he became Karma's most efficient delivery system. This is Boxing Fever, where we analyze the moments that define combat sports. Subscribe and like the video. Also share your thoughts below. Which technical evolution surprised you most? And remember, in combat sports, the most dangerous opponent isn't the strongest or the most technical. It's the one who never stops learning.